was surprised at how quiet you're eating that chip, but you have not even taken a bite yet.
No, I'm not going to bite it. I'm just going to lick the flavor off of it.
Dude, same.
I don't need the chip. I just need the seasoning.
Mine's like more like my ADHD just wants like the oral stimulation of like...
That too. I do the same thing. Do you ever look when you're like eating Doritos and you look for the side with the most seasoning on it and that's the side you lay on your tongue first? Or is that just
I just like the whole thing.
Okay, well I guess I'm just fucking weird then.
I think we're both weird.
Yeah. Welcome back to Crime in the Coconut. That's an official intro.
Yes.
It's episode... Shit, I counted earlier.
I was gonna say, how the fuck do you know that?
I counted
I
earlier.
don't.
I don't. What the fuck ever. I'll count for the next episode, but I don't remember. I counted earlier. It's a lot.
Well, this is my episode. I can't wait till we get to like 100, and we're like, how did we get there?
I know. That's 2 years. That's over 2 years worth of. That's 2 years and 4 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Because a year is 52 weeks, so if we get to 100... Oh, I guess it would be less than 2 years.
I've had a lot of people ask me when we started.
Uh-huh.
Like, especially people from, like, Tinder. They're like, oh, when did you start your podcast? Because they listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, in February. And they're like, no shit, really? And I'm like, yeah.
It's fresh out the womb.
I know, but that just, like, goes to show, like, how professional we sound, which is really nice.
Just wait till we get a new mic, you guys.
Or 2 mics.
Or 2. That's the goal. 2 even if it was 2 of these mics, I think we'd be fine.
You know, I might invest in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, and then make one of them my, like,
studio
office,
room.
and then I can put, like, sound padding on the walls.
I looked at, like, cheap sound padding, because when we were talking about doing it remote, I looked at, like, cheap foam on Amazon to try to make it work. I think we could Jimmy rig it and make our own soundproofing.
Oh, we could, for sure.
Yeah.
Alright, well, my name's Amanda.
My name's Ashley.
And this week is my turn.
Guys, I'm so excited.
I am too. This month is gonna be a good one.
I think we say that every month, but it just means they're all good.
Yeah.
So.
I think this one for sure. These are like, I would have to say like, these next 2 stories for me are gonna be like in my top 5 favorite.
Yeah, the one I'm doing is like top 5 favorite murderers, and the other one is like the scariest fucking story I've ever heard.
This one almost made me cry when I read it.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Okay.
I'm a big sap. If Amanda's crying, it's over for me.
I know. Alright.
Here we go.
So, 23-year-old Heather Teague went missing in August of 1995 while sunbathing in Newburgh Beach in Kentucky. Apparently this beach is like right on the Ohio River, so it's like right in the cusp of where like the state we live in.
Right.
A witness who was on the other side of the river with a telescopic camera said they saw her in a red and white plaid bathing suit. Kind of creepy.
Very creepy.
They were probably like, they said they were there to like take images of like the river and like the scenery, but I'm sure they were like lingering on her because she
saw her and she was
saw
probably
pictures
beautiful.
of her. She was beautiful, yeah. And
I'd probably stop for a minute too.
But this was the only witness. And I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but they told police that they saw a man come out of the woods behind Heather, wearing a wig and a mosquito net, grabbed her by the hair, and drug her back into the woods at gunpoint. When authorities searched the area, a piece of her bathing suit was found near the abduction site, but Heather was never to be seen again. Marvin Dill was pulled over at a routine traffic stop fairly soon after Heather's disappearance. This is still the same day. The cop noticed Marvin matched the description of the abductor, as well as the car he was driving also matched the vehicle seen parked next to Heather's, which was a white Ford Bronco.
Side note, Ford Broncos are some of my favorite vehicles.
I feel like we talked about that, because I know when I read that, I was like, this sounds familiar.
I love Ford, all like models of them, I love Ford Broncos.
Broncos are nice. They're nice.
Not that matters, but
yeah.
There you go, something
He has nice taste. Upon searching Marvin's vehicle, the police found hair resembling Heather's, 2 guns, 2 knives, duct tape, rubber gloves, and rope.
Sorry, if he's not her abductor, why does he have that in his car?
Oh, wait for it. Anyways, they found all this shit in this guy's car. And Marvin was allowed to return home. I don't know why. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Maybe they didn't have like the
Maybe
criteria to arrest him
yeah.
right then, but literally like very soon after that, investigators went to his home to arrest Martin, but he had already committed suicide sometime between the 2 events.
That motherfucker did it. Okay.
Wait for it. This When I did this story, I was like, this is all about Heather Teague. It gets deep. So this all happened on the same day. A very quick mess of events. Obviously, Marvin looks very guilty. Mm-hmm. Other than Marvin, another suspect is Christopher Bello. It's spelled below, but I read it as Bello. So Christopher Bello, which due to a few similarities in like their acquaintances between Heather and Christopher, the fact that he left Spotsville, Kentucky immediately following Heather's abduction, and his history of kidnapping and quote-unquote manslaughter within the southern Ohio area is what made the article originally supposed to be about Heather. But when I got to this guy, I thought, okay, now I've got to cover them all. Mm-hmm. In regards to Heather, investigators suspect that perhaps both Marvin and Bello were in on Heather's abduction. So I'm thinking Martin was a accomplice, got caught. Driver, maybe? Yeah, got caught and killed himself while Christopher got away with Heather. Before I dive into this, none of Bello's victims have been found. They're all presumed to be dead.
Wow. Okay, I gotta buckle up here. Click, click. I'm ready.
What do you have on?
Alright, sure. Oh, this is my, like, jacket thing. Oh. I don't know. This is, like, a weird, probably, like, I always
it looks
do
like
that.
one of those cute little, like, dresses with, like, a t-shirt underneath.
Yeah, I'm not that cool. Sorry, can't pull it off.
You could.
I used to do that. I was, like, 19. I thought I was cool. Mm. And I wore Doc Martens. They weren't Doc Martens because I wasn't rich. They were off-brand Doc Martens, but you get the idea. For sure.
Okay, so Christopher Bello had a rough home life, to say the least.
Hashtag me too, Chris.
Hashtag me too. His parents divorced a year after he was born, and his mother told him that his father died in Vietnam. A large impact on his young life was when his father showed up randomly.
Oh, shit.
When his father showed up randomly in an attempt to build a relationship with him. I'm unsure of how old Bello was when this happened, but he wholeheartedly believed his father was dead until he just showed up. So I think he's got a little
psychological damage,
mommy
some trauma.
Issues. Yeah, you know.
Might need some therapy.
He joined the army for a short amount of time because of some exaggerated ailments. He was only in there for like 2 months before he like left. I don't know if he was discharged or whatever. Mm-hmm. Some of his ex-girlfriends told police that he had an alcohol dependency problem and a Jekyll and Hyde type personality.
Wonder why.
His other victims include, this is going to go a little quick, Christina Porco. A 16-year-old went missing from Hilton Head in November of 1986. The only evidence being found was her sweater near the pool area. She has not been found. Cheyenne Marie Farrell, an 18-year-old girl who went missing from Piqua, Ohio in August of 1994, went missing while running an errand. Her abandoned car found in the grocery store parking lot where she worked. She has not been found.
Holy shit.
This gives me goosebumps. Oh my god.
They're just gone.
Mary Kushto, a 43-year-old woman, went missing from St. Cloud, Florida in May of 1988. Her case is a bit strange. She's a little older than the other victims. Mm-hmm. But she was in an altercation with her boyfriend, who was a member of the KKK.
What?
But passed a polygraph test. He claimed that he did mistreat Mary, but was not involved in her disappearance. Bello was in St. Cloud, Florida during the time of Mary's disappearance. She has not been found. And victim Catherine Fetzer was a 26-year-old woman who lived in Medina, Ohio.
That's fucking close.
And was supposedly having a marital affair with her coworker, who was Christopher Bello, in November of 1991. During this time, she went missing. And in 2003, Bello pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and claimed that he shot her and disposed of her body in a trash can. Her body was never found either.
What is he fucking doing?
This is the only victim that he has ever been charged with, and he is incarcerated in Ohio. He's incarcerated here until 2001. Or 2021.
Until 2021.
No.
Wow, that's next fucking year.
Yes. And this man has probably stolen multiple women, never found their bodies, never any evidence against him.
That's fucking scary. And you and I fit that type now.
Yeah, and he gets out of prison next year.
How old is he gonna be? Do we know that?
I don't...
Guess it doesn't matter.
I think he's more in, like, 60s.
So he's just old as my dad. If he's spry, he can still fucking do that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. So be careful out there, kids. I have friends from Piqua.
I have friends from Medina. Yeah. Oh, God.
The one who was running an errand, she went to run an errand at the grocery store she worked at.
What is safer?
Right.
What is sacred in this world?
And who knows? Maybe Chris hasn't kept up with the times. We have a lot more footage, like, of a lot of parking lots, random areas now.
Even the early 2000s really didn't have a lot of good coverage.
Yeah. But I want to know, this is what I think. Mm-hmm. I think he's selling them in the sex trade.
At least some of them.
Because it's kind of difficult to dispose of a body. Completely. And, and there not be any kind of, like, remains found.
Unless you pull a Dahmer and just, like, acidify them.
It's not
but, like, nobody's doing that anymore. Yeah. Right.
Bella's sister came into possession of one of his briefcases that contained multiple missing persons posters of women, one of them being Christina, the 16-year-old at Hilton Head, and the earliest victim that we know of or kind of know of.
That's such a common thing with serial killers. They like to keep trophies of, like, their accomplishments and stuff.
So I want to know how many missing persons posters he had.
Oh, yeah, why didn't she turn that into the police?
She did.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, she did. Mm-hmm. And that's all I have.
Alright, here, hold on.
I have, I'll state my sources at the end. Go ahead.
This is so fascinating to me because a lot of people like to say, oh, all the major serial killers are done with, like, we figured them all out, they're all behind bars, or they're dead, or, we know their stories. The fuck you do. You know how many of these fuckers are still out there, or died and got away with all of the shit that they did? Samuel Little was just, I think it was last year or the year before, and most people don't know who that is.
I don't.
Because I didn't until somebody mentioned it on a podcast earlier this year. He is the most notorious American serial killer and has killed at least, confirmed, over 90 people. And nobody knows who he is because they just got him. They're still finding it out.
Right, and
like this guy has taken how many women and they're just gone.
Right, to snatch them up from the parking lot,
and he's only incarcerated for one of them. And it took how long to catch him?
On involuntary manslaughter when he admitted to shooting her.
And who knows if he even just shot her and dismembered her. You know what? Or not dismembered her,
but they never found her body. Yeah.
Right. So who knows if that's even the truth. They had nothing. He gave a confession, so they took it. That doesn't mean it's real.
Yeah.
You think serial killers don't exist anymore. You're fucking with yourself. Okay?
For sure. And that's what gave me goosebumps. I was like, holy shit. Like, for you to just become a statistic in a podcast that two 20-year-olds are talking about.
Absolutely. And hey, we could be knock on wood, neither of us ever are, but like, we could still be the safest people we could possibly manage to be, and it could still happen.
I thought about the coincidence of me covering the story and then being abducted by him.
Listen, I will raise hell.
If he's smart, he won't stay here.
No, he would leave. He would go out west or something. Yeah. He's obviously been up and down the whole East Coast. Yeah. And most of the Midwest.
If he's smart, he'll go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But that's, the whole reason we started this podcast was to highlight the indiscrepancies of our justice system.
Absolutely.
And for this guy to literally have all these connections to these missing people, and for him to only be incarcerated for 11 years, actually.
What I don't understand, like, what is the deal with the lack of the investigative work? Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe there are people working behind the scenes to try to connect all these dots, but so often these armchair detectives with these podcasts are like, okay, we're seeing all of these connections, and if it's not true, okay, but we need to prove that it's not true because this is too much information for us to just ignore. But the police do, investigators do,
and they're just probably, like, there's not enough. They probably even know more than we do.
Yeah, because they keep stuff close to the chest, so they know when people are lying and telling the truth.
Yeah,
but like, I don't. And maybe it's because, like I said, I don't work behind the scenes and I'm not an investigator, but it just feels like there is a lack of, all too often, a lack of true, deep investigative work.
And I don't know if that's just from, like, the stress of the job. Like, you think, like...
I don't know what red tape they have to go through to do certain things.
Right. And not to shout out my parents, and they probably don't even listen to this anyways, but my mom is one of those people that's like, oh, if I just pretend COVID's not real, then it won't get me.
Woo,
so I feel like it's almost like a coping mechanism. And I guarantee after you see so much shit in the field, for you to be like, I just want to go home to my family and eat dinner. Yeah. I don't want to have to think about all these women that were killed and murdered and stolen. Yeah. Because while they do have evidence that it links Christopher Bell to it, they still don't know where these women are.
Right. And what happens if it's not Christopher and it turns out to be something else, and then there's this whole rabbit hole that they fall down and then it just eats them up.
Yeah. I feel like having a career in detective work almost becomes your life. It absorbs you. Yeah. It's heroes' work.
I have respect for them. This is not me shitting on investigative work. It's a true question to me as to how this sort of thing happens. Like, I really want to know, like, is it the same for every situation where clear evidence and connections and dots that are showing up are just ignored, or are you really following through on them? Are you really running that to the ground until you reach a dead end? Because it doesn't seem like you are, especially in cases like this. Mm-hmm. Or like those cases where the wrong person is incarcerated just because it was a quick and easy answer to wrap something up, even though there were red flags pointing in a completely different direction.
Right. And I feel horrible for, like, just burning through this super quick. But, like, for me to list off all these names and end each one with, she has not been found, she has not been found,
it's so painful.
Not been found. Yeah.
It's so painful. And I can't imagine their families. All of them.
Well, actually, Heather Teague, the one who,
the very first one.
Original, not the original victim, but the one that's, like, typically highlighted. Her mom, I read a couple articles, and her mom is still like, if you see my daughter,
still believing. And hey, there's absolutely nothing fucking wrong with that, because they believe that Amanda Berry was dead and gone, and 10 years later she popped the fuck up.
Yeah, and the one article I read was at the end, I just kind of like skimmed over it. I didn't take anything from the article, so I didn't use it as a source. But I skimmed over it at the end. Whoever wrote it actually talked to her mom and said, I'm happy you wrote this. I'm glad you're still talking about her, because I don't want anyone to ever forget.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. And that's for people who are like, I don't get true crime podcasts. One, yes, it is like this weird fascination with things that are creepy, which is just a normal human thing, and it has been for thousands of years. Human beings like fear. They just do. But it also is because there is no limitation on how long you should talk about these things, especially the ones like this where the women have not been found. Because you don't know if they could still be out there. Who knows? Who knows if they are trapped in some creepy-ass guy's basement right now, but they let them listen to Spotify and they hear this. You know what I mean? Like, or their family hears this. And it gives them hope to keep trying to look for them, to keep trying to figure out what happened to them and get that closure.
I want the same thing for myself.
I would want some 20-year-old and her friend, who's also 20 years old, to talk about me for the rest of time until they couldn't talk about it anymore. I would want people to fight for me that way. It's also important to talk about these things because they still happen. Like I said, there are large serial killers that are working right now that we may never find out about, or that we will not find out about for a long time.
And I feel like how fast technology is advancing. Like, I'm sure the sweet spot was like 2010, 2009 was the sweet spot for like footage and media and stuff. But now it's like there is so much footage out there. Who is going to comb through all of that to find one person?
And people, what I found too is like you said, that guy with the girl with the camera that noticed the finite details of her bathing suit. Sure, it was probably because she was beautiful, but for them to be able to remember that and relay that and be an active witness, I think about that constantly. Like, am I paying enough attention to the world around me that I would be able to do that if I needed to?
And for them to speak up, like, maybe they were being a creep, but for them to put that aside and be like, I just watched a woman get abducted.
That was very helpful.
Yeah. Because otherwise, Heather Teague would have just been, my daughter went missing, I don't know where she went.
And they might not have ever figured anything out about Christopher or Martin.
Yeah, Martin. Awful.
It is. It breaks my heart.
Like, and I think, like, sometimes, like, there was one time, I used to live in Streetsboro, and that's, like, literally right on the turnpike, and I wanted to go out and get a board game and some cookie dough, and probably some alcohol.
Living a good life.
And I asked I was like...
What board game?
I was with my boyfriend at the time. I don't know, a board game. I was bored. And I was with my... right.
Sorry.
And I wanted to... I went up to my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, hey, I want to go out and get cookie dough and a board game. And he was like, do you want to go with me? Do you want me to go with you? And I said, no, it's not a big deal. Like, I don't really care. And he was like, that's fine. I'll just stay here. I'm like, okay. And I was going to go to the Walmart, which is literally within walking distance
I know
of the turnpike.
Yeah.
And I was on my way there, and I just got this sinking feeling. And I was like, this is a bad idea. It was dark. It was like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I turned around, and I went home.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
Listen to your intuition. It's a real thing. I don't care what anybody says. This kind of stuff really scares me.
I think is the risk worth the reward.
Right. Did you need the board game? Did you need cookie dough?
Am I gonna risk going to get a board game that I might even not get to play because I got sold into sex slavery? I should turn around.
My friend that went missing last month.
I was gonna ask if you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. So, because I posted about it on the Instagram. My friend from high school went missing back in July. She walked out of a hospital in Tennessee and walked out with nothing, no money, no phone, no anything. She is schizophrenic, and so they believed she was a danger to herself, and she was kind of going through an episode and just was going anywhere. She was headed to the Florida area. I don't know where they picked her up, but she was, when they found her, was still headed down to that Florida area.
Did they find her?
They did. She's home and being treated.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But the whole time, I was like, who got her?
That's why I didn't want to bring it up, because I was like, I don't know if she's still missing.
No, she's home. Yeah, they found her. She's being treated in Ohio. She's up in Ohio with all of her family. She's being treated right now. So.
Oh, that's great.
Here's to hoping she was
still like wandering when they found her?
Yeah, she was still just on foot. I don't know how she survived. I don't know the details of that. I'm sure the family probably wants to keep that kind of tight-lipped.
Yeah.
Because that's painful for her.
For sure.
But she's home safe. That's all that matters. But the whole time I'm thinking, okay, yeah, she walked out of her own accord. We know that. But she's not safe. Like, she's so vulnerable. She's young
just
and
stopped the car
beautiful.
and yanked her into the car? Mm-hmm.
Who said, hey, I'll give you a ride. Where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
Hitchhiking still exists.
Yeah.
And she's not in her right state of mind. She was a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Very easily a victim. And I was so scared that she was going to end up like one of these girls. We never found her. I'm really happy. Yeah. I'm really relieved. Yes. I was too. I cried. I was like, oh my God, thank God.
That's amazing. I had an episode when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I went to this elementary school down here. Yeah. And, just trying to preserve the,
No triangulation in this show.
Hell no. I went to this elementary school, and I was in kindergarten, and I obviously had never, like, experienced school before. Yeah. And
that shit's rough.
My mom was gonna pick me up for, like, a doctor's appointment or something. Mm-hmm. And the principal called my teacher, and she was like, Amanda, you can go, to your doctor's appointment. Or, I don't know, she said it in a way that was, like, vague. And I was like, so I just walk home, or do I wait? And she just said yes. And,
A or B?
And
yes.
It was snowing outside, and I walked out the front door. And I'm walking down to this bridge. I was almost at this bridge here. Little tiny Amanda. And my mom, thankfully my mom and grandma saw me. But my mom...
Because they were on the way to get you.
But my mom whipped open that passenger side door, yanked me in the car, closed it, and drove away. And let me tell you, not a damn person said a thing.
Nobody called. There was no police at your door.
Nope.
Asking about your well-being?
Nope.
Listen, the other day, I heard a kid, I was walking my cat, and I heard a kid, I was like in kind of like my side yard, backyard area, and I heard a kid start crying. And it wasn't necessarily a weird cry, but I thought, you know what?
Might as well
just walk. Mm-hmm. I better just walk up front. And it did turn out to be his mom just fighting with him to get him in the car. But what if it hadn't been? Mm-hmm. What if it had been some weird... I mean, I guess I shouldn't just assume it was his mom, but it did. I mean, she's calling him by name. She's putting him in a car seat. Like, it did kind of... I have a 5-year-old niece. Like, it looked just like she was struggling with her kid. But how do you know? You know what I mean? How do you...
But that maternal instinct kicks in hard. I have young cousins, and they were in the backyard, and my grandmother was supposed to go out and watch them, but I knew she wasn't quite out there yet. The one's old enough to, like, watch them, and we're in, like, a pretty secluded area.
Right. But
I was up in this bathroom and I heard the one like scream, and I looked out the window and I was
you
naked.
Were ready.
Yeah. I was ready to fucking book it out there.
Yeah.
Like, don't think I'm not gonna rip your eyes out,
yeah.
butt ass naked.
Butt ass naked. Because
I will.
For these kids. Okay,
I will.
That goes for all kids right now. I don't care how much clothing I have on. I am beating ass for these kids.
Yes.
Okay. Hashtag save the children.
Yes.
I said what I said.
I don't think anyone disagrees with that, but also no one's really taking action, so.
I know. Makes me upset. Like, I think, and it's not for lack of trying. Like, I see people saying, like, here's what we need to do.
The
more
people who are in charge of that
make.
just have too much power.
Exactly. And like you said, these women could have been sold into sex slavery because it's not age-bound. It just is much easier to happen to children because children are more vulnerable.
Right.
And obviously the
or even that 16-year-old, like, that's her whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously the elitists all over the world, not just this country, are majorly involved with that. And so, of course, not much will come of it from the children. But it happens to women, too.
Yeah.
Ariel Castro trapped 3 women. One of them was a young girl when she was taken, but trapped 3 women for 10 years. That's sex slavery. Yeah. It exists. Mm-hmm. Both within poverty and within elitism.
Small scale, large scale, yep.
Yep.
I'm gonna list my sources.
Yes.
The ones from Reddit by user The Hound's Chest Hair.
Hell yeah, The Hound's Chest Hair.
That's actually, like, what I went off, like, fairly heavy.
Mm-hmm. Reddit users, man, they do the fucking work.
Yeah, they do. Thank you, Mr. Chest Hair.
Yeah.
And then,
that just registered with me. Good job, Mr. Chest Hair.
And then
or Mrs. Chest Hair.
Yeah, it could be woman.
Non-binary chest hair?
What is the non-binary Mr. Mrs.?
That's what I'm wondering. Let us know what you prefer.
Right. Ooh, who knows? And then the unidentified Wikipedia.
Very nice.
Yes. Okay.
That was excellent. I mean, that was fucking awful, but that was very well done. Mm-hmm. We are on Instagram at Crime in the Coconut. Stay tuned for some cool ass shit coming to that Instagram. And I'm going to bring back the funny ass quotes. We're on Twitter at CITC Podcasts. And our Gmail is crimeinthecoconut@gmail.com. Please, if you love us, start sending us listener stories, because we really want to do listener stories episodes.
Have we ever had any emails?
I don't think from listeners, no.
Oh. Mm-mm. Thanks, guys.
Yep, love you. We do get DMs on occasion, just from your cousin. But, well, and my boyfriend's mom. But please, send us. They can be scary. They can be...
Who's that, do you know that one lady that always comments on our Instagram and is, like, basically our #1 fan?
Oh, that's Quinn's mom.
Oh, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. That's Quinn's mom.
I like to think it was some random person.
No, that's Quinn's mom.
Thanks, Quinn's mom.
Yep, her name's Karen.
Love
She's
you.
Great. So yeah, send us, like, ghost stories from your childhood, glitches in the Matrix, true crime encounters, hometown murders.
Maybe you did one yourself.
Yeah.
Let us in on it.
Yep, let us know. To that listener we have down in Texas who listens to us every single week, apparently, send us some fun Texas stories.
Really?
Because we live in Ohio.
We're, like, desperate for shout-outs right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, that's where you can find us. Apparently the only people that listen are already there. So thanks, guys.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.